things that you can do with estate planning and gifting shares to your children, $13,000 a year per child, per adult, so that's a husband and wife, that's 26 and 26. So you can segue properties over a period of years and move it out of your estate with pieces of paper. And sign, you don't have to go to the courthouse, you don't have to know now junior or grand junior gets, now we have a friend that we know is a big time investor, and he had all his children and all the grandchildren were getting shares, even when they're minors, and some of them are still minors, shares of houses, and they were paying their schooling expenses from the rents. They were paying at their tax bracket. They had, you know, pretty soon they had 30%, and they had 50 and 60%. They got that percent of the rent. They paid their school, their clothing, their cars, and all that at their tax bracket. And yet this guy was the director. He was always the director. And he says, they're going to treat me good in my old age, you know. And he still had that Wizard of Oz thing. He was behind the screen. And that's what you can do. You can run the railroad, and if they don't treat you right, you know, like the change, you get that whiteout pen, and you go over the beneficiary, just right, you know, just gone, you know, off. The daughter comes home with the rock star, you just slide that white thing over, and she's gone. And or they give you any back talk. You know, kids tend to talk back. Not my kids, but some kids talk back. Then now, when Mr. Wonderful his record gets to platinum, why, you write her back in. You know, you get the pen, and it's easy. You know, you just put her, but she's also, oh, there, Mr. Wonderful is now on your team. So there are a lot of benefits that accrue with this operating system. I just wouldn't tolerate this business as well, or, you know, with the aggravation that comes with the real everyday problems. But we do those closings if I finance a place, I do it in my office. They buy the beneficial interest, they do up the documents, they bring in the money and the trustee, and we do the kind of thing. The financing is carried that way, and to me, it's easier. I mean, we pay the taxes, and we do all the things that we do. Normally, it just makes things more productive, easier, and cheaper than that. And I think you would find those benefits. But the land trust, I could go. You know, the people that use it. There are some people that use it here, right? Some people use land trusts in the room. Yeah, and been using it for a while. It's okay with you? Did you pay an attorney to set yours up? No, you did it yourself. It's not rocket science, right? And when you look, now we'll set up trusts for people. We charge $250 like my attorney does, but he doesn't practice outside. But sometimes I say, well, we'll do one, you can do the rest. Sometimes people have us do several, they don't get it. You know, you send us a list. Who's your trustee? Who's your beneficiaries? Dates. If you look at what goes in a lease, a trust, an option, it's usually two people, some amount of money, a couple of dates, right? And you look at what goes in all these legal documents, it's about the same kind of stuff. You and I'm seller buyer. And it's not the boilerplate. If you looked at some of these documents, like leases and long, if you don't say when we do these, we say agreement, and people have to try to figure out what is, I agree to make so many payments. And, you know, if you just put agreement, an agreement for deed, it's sort of like an agreement for deed. So it's on the computer, and it's like in these books, there's 37 documents in the back, all the trusts, all the deeds, all the directions to trustee, all the kind of things that you need to operate option deals or trust deals. And to me, it makes life simpler and less stressful. And I'm sure that would work for you. Let's talk a little bit about personal property trust. So that's a grantor revocable trust that you can do, and that would be, you can put cars, boats, airplanes, kind of dangerous stuff. You have it titled into that. But it's especially good for mobile homes. Mobile homes have some risk. The land, if anybody deals with mobile homes, which I have off and on over the years, the ground doesn't hurt people, the ground doesn't burn down, the ground doesn't have steps. The mobile home has steps. So we have different owners. The land is owned by somebody, the mobile home is owned by somebody, a different trust. And it's in a personal property trust. And the trustee could be J.P. Fullerton. It could be Janice or Joan or James. You don't know what sex they are, no address, you don't know how to find them. So it doesn't avoid illegal activities by you or getting sued or not paying your taxes. It does put a speed bump on contingency fee attorneys that the guy really didn't fall down the stairs. You know, and I see Mark Warda, who wrote this book and has been my attorney partner for 30 years. He's a trustee for thousands of people. Another attorney we deal with has 27,000 trusts that he's a trustee for. So we have in touch with a group of attorneys that are the biggest in the country and know the most about this. So we see what's going on with foreclosures, with lawsuits. They leave us alone for other than bad acts, you know, wiring the house backwards or having unsafe things. But as far as harassment, they don't bother because they don't see an easy way to get paid. And to me, that's worth the ticket to get in. But the personal property trust is not well understood at all. There aren't any books on it. And we use it and think about deeds of trust or notes being held in that. Instead of in your name, it's held in that trust. And it could have an LLC, you could have a trustee, you could have a corporation could be a trustee. It gets your name off the public record, and it can't do that math profile. I can't do that balance income or balance sheet on you by not knowing who's the owner of that stuff. So it's got a lot of benefits, and in the class with trusts we tell you some more benefits of these different asset protection and estate planning devices that are legal and they're okay. They just people can't quite figure out what you're up to. You know, who's doing what, and that's part of the game. If you can take a lot of, let's say, invalid lawsuits off the table, because it won't happen and they won't get very far, and the free attorney is not going to pursue that case for free. And they would say to Steve, you have to put some money on the desk here if you want to pursue this, like $5,000. And if you can't pay the rent, you're probably not going to do that. And that's the end of the case. I know with some dog bites and pit bull bites that they really happened. They were really serious. And the firm with the sign on the interstate, you know, call us and all that. So they called them. They signed them up. Yeah, we'll take that. And they saw the trustee, and I called it trustee. Did you ever get, you know, about 3 months went by, never heard from them. Then the people that brought the lawsuit, the tenant that was the injured party, got a letter from them, and they said they decided to not take the case because they get probably, I think they have 300 lawyers or something in this one big firm, and they get input every day, and they put them in stacks, collect, you know, insurance. Difficult to collect, and it was kind of in limbo, and they finally shredded it after some time. And that was, you know, an issue. But the insurance, the insurance would have paid a modest amount to cover expenses in that. So the personal property trust we talk about, show you ways to use it and ways to make your life simpler. And it's a matter of filling in those same blanks. Trustee, you, I, date, some certain amount of a contract between people. So that's when you see the trusts, this and the IRA trust, there's a lot of commonality in the trust law, and it's easier to look at them all together, and they have a few differences, and to get the whole picture, when to use each one and when they're best. But when you use that people that do not, they don't understand it. There's no, with a personal property trust, like with that note, it's taken into that trust, but we don't have an address for the trustee. We don't have what JP, we use initials and stuff, and you know, tax-wise, profit-wise, it's all the same. And to me, it just, we have a special trust for holding mortgages and deeds of trust, and that's a separate trust. And whereas you would want, as we suggest, to have one land trust for each property to insulate them from the others. If you put 5 properties in, you got a big judgment, they get all 5 of your properties. If it's only a piece of paper, you put the same names and the same dates and you hit print, you just change the address, so you have 5 land trusts. But if you carry notes, you buy notes, you can put them all in one trust because they don't carry risk with the notes. So we have 20 deeds of trust in one trust, but not 20 properties. So you can have one personal property trust, keeps it out of harm's way, and we're not trying to create paperwork and stuff and extra things. So think about that. We'll show you how to use that.